All right, we can start in a second. Okay. There we are. Jeez, Emmanuel. Holy smokes. That was fast. Holy smokes. Woo. Guys. We got some stuff to talk about, believe it or not. Imagine that. Imagine that. Happy hump day. We're halfway through the week. What's going on, Brandon? Yep, Friday weather. Arthur, why do I have a feeling you're somewhere out in the Mid-Atlantic or New England? Why do I have a feeling? If you're asking about the weather Friday, I have a feeling you're in the Mid-Atlantic, Arthur. I don't know. I'm just going to guess. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Are we going to have snowfall in West Texas? Maybe. We're gonna get all this. This is the latest from the European Ensemble. Guys, there's some models that bring snow very far to the south, by the way, into North Carolina here soon. So something we'll entertain and we'll look at here. Marissa, what is popping? Marissa, we're about to have record low temperatures. We are, in fact, about to have record low temperatures. Let's go into a minimum daily record. Let's go into our, here we go. Wow, look at this. -14, but only -6 for us? I don't know about that. Let me go to Ohio Valley. Actually, let me go to Upper Midwest. No, we'll go back here to the States. Look at all of these record lows for tomorrow. All record low temperatures. Tell me how it's -11 in Des Moines and -6 in Minneapolis. I think they're wrong. I think we're going to get colder. It's not like there's like a low pressure system pushing cold air down at the surface, so I don't know why they're assuming this. Anyways, check out Friday, guys. These are all records that might be set for low temperature for December 5th. These are all records that could be set, stretching from literally Baltimore up through Maine, from western Iowa and Missouri all the way out there to the Northeast. All records. And then we push into next week, and guess what? We're still setting records potentially. We're still going to be trying to set records out here along the coast, by the way. You wonder why the Climate Prediction Center shows this bad boy out here. That bad boy right there. Get ready to put on some extra layers. You know what's funny, too? You want to know what's funny? While you could be setting record lows out east, look, they could be setting all-time record high for low temperatures out west, because the circles mean hot, hotter than normal. The squares mean you're setting a record low. I bet you, let me go to max temperature records. Yeah, they're setting max temperature records out west, unfortunately. Some in California, out there in Oregon. Do we have any max temp? Down in Florida, holy smokes, 86 degrees this Sunday? That would be a record. That'd be a record. Look at these minimums. Look at these minimums potentially on Friday. These are record low highs. Oh, is that the high? Yeah, these are highs. These are highs on Friday. 24-degree high in Detroit. Let me go out to the New England real quick. These are high temperatures. Let's go to Mid-Atlantic. New York City, you might not get above freezing on Friday. You might not get above freezing in New York City on Friday. In early December, you might not even crack freezing. That's cold. It's cold if you ask me. But yeah, we're going to get into all this, guys. We might have some snow falling in Baltimore and Philly, in New York City. We actually have a chance. The Europeans still season. We're going to look at short ranges. The cold air is going to be there. The question with this time is the moisture. Last time, the moisture was there with this last system that just moved through. The moisture was there. You guys got cold rain. You guys know that. A little bit of mixing ice. But the cold air wasn't there. The moisture was there. This time, the cold air is going to be there. We need that moisture to develop on the north end of the system, and I think we might. Marissa, Pearly, what's small? Hello, world. I appreciate you. Wait. Oh, did Arthur ever answer me? Wait, hold up. Snow in North Carolina. There's some models that show snow in North Carolina. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Yeah. Marissa, I think we're going to be colder than what they're expecting for tomorrow morning. Why does it say it's snowing right now outside? Oh, it is. Okay. Snowing, southern Minneapolis. Yeah, they're saying -6 tomorrow. Our feels like here's going to be -10 degrees. I think we're going to get colder than that. I think we can get below -10 degrees as the actual temperature up here in Minneapolis. Okay, so let's go over all this stuff, guys, and then I'm going to get to all of your questions. We are going to... The big story really is... Yeah, because it is. I was like, wait. The big story really is... Major Arctic blasts on the way. Before I get to the fact that we might have mid-Atlantic snow and North Carolina snow falling here in mid-December or this weekend, we're going to start with temperatures because holy smokes, we going to get cold. Very, very cold, record-setting cold temperatures. So let's look at that. Let's go to our anomalies. Here's the 00Z from last night. Don't mind this massive blob of 40 degrees below average temperatures. Don't mind this just skirting its way across the entire northern tier of the U.S. up here in the plains out east. Crazy. Look at this. We're stretching from northern Maine out through almost central to northeastern Missouri, and this is 20 to 40 degrees below average for everyone. Hey, we were right about the start of December, weren't we, guys? We were correct. And that moves out. Florida is on fire. Like literally someone called the fire department. Florida is actually on fire. And everyone else though is having a great time. You know, the Pacific Northwest, you see all these reds, but it's still only like 50 degrees up here. Florida's like 90. No, Florida's like 85 degrees down here. Florida's baking. I know some of you love that. I grew up in Florida. I lived there for 24 years. I can't stand it. I could not stand waking up on Christmas morning and it's 82 degrees outside. It totally ruined the holiday for me. It did not ever feel like Christmas. We had one Christmas where the high was like 68 degrees, and we all put on jackets and stuff, and we were like, oh, this is awesome, because we're from Florida, and we thought that was freezing. And that was like my most memorable Christmas, because like the high was in the 60s. But by the way, Florida, a big cool down looks like it's coming for you around December 12th. But anyways, cold. Look what happens out here, December 9th. This is going to be the story, though, if this happens. This is going to be the story if this happens. Major, all caps, MAJOR, polar jet collapse here. And if you look at this on the reflectivity, we have tons of, we have the opportunity for some low pressure systems to form off the coast here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all this moisture running up the coast. This is 30 degree below average temperatures. You want a nor'easter. Again, a good setup here. You never know if you're going to get it or not, but you do know if you have a setup for it. If we continue to see this verify on the models, the GFS and Canadian are beginning to agree with this pattern. If we continue to see this verify, good shot out here for a nor'easter potentially late next week for you guys. But regardless, this is going to be crazy cold temperatures. Let me actually show you that. Let me just finish going over this stuff, guys, and then I'm going to answer all your questions, promise. Not much longer. Let me actually show you what these temperatures could look like out here in some of these regions. Let's go to the east. If we have this big collapse here. Yes, you are seeing that correctly. Feels like in Tampa, Florida, 28 degrees. Jacksonville, Florida, 26 degrees. Tallahassee, Florida, 22. Apalachicola, 26 degree. Feels like we're feeling like it is maybe 5 degrees in New York City. maybe 10 degrees to 13 degrees in Baltimore. This is the feels like right now. We're negative 20 degrees in Minneapolis, casual, just casual Saturday morning. And then negative 8 degrees out there, Milwaukee. We're talking about 4 degrees in Chicago. Look at this, Nashville, 19. Where the feels like is in the freezing all the way down to the Gulf. You're freezing all the way down to the Gulf, or maybe 39 degree feels like down in Houston. This would be crazy. 21 degrees, 23 degrees out here in Savannah. I mean, this is the feels like. Now, actual temperature, I'll show you. It's still freezing. We're almost freezing actual temperature if we get this to verify down in Tampa, Florida. We're actually freezing in Jacksonville, Florida. We're actually freezing along the Gulf in mid-December here. And yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is well below freezing. Not only would you get, this would be a good snow ratio if you got some moisture out here during this time frame. So crossing my fingers for you guys. I know you guys down in the south especially want some snow up the coast here. We're seeing consistency on this. The amplification, I think, is the question. I think this cold air dip is going to happen at the end of next week. How amplified is it? You know, it does right now. It has our trough really digging down like this. Does it de-amplify and just dig down like this, where you'd still get cold enough for snow in this region, but you know, not farther south? We'll see. But pretty crazy. Let me look at the GFS real quick. Out here around this time frame, notice the GFS gets it pretty dang cold too. Not quite as cold as the Euro, but we're down in the low 40s down here in Tampa. We're below freezing for everyone down here. We're low 40s. Even, Pensacola, we're 34 degrees. So the GFS agrees with this. Same type of time frame. It actually pushes it back just a few days, though. This would be crazy, though. This would be crazy. Jacksonville, Florida, going from 78 degrees, and then like 48 hours later, they're at 38 degrees. That would be hilarious. Anyways, okay, now quickly, last thing before I get to questions. Promise you, last thing before I get to questions. Let's talk about the potential snowstorm that we have from the Mid-Atlantic. Let's go into the latest Euro. And here we go. There is the latest Euro. Now, you're probably pretty happy to see that in the Mid-Atlantic, but we need to look at the short ranges. The latest Euro, and this isn't even that light of snow. This right here could be some decent snow. Maybe inch an hour snow. Maybe not, but could be some decent snow. DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York City, and then potentially Boston as this moves up the coast. This is 60 hours away. This is totally forecasting range right here. Be a mess of ice down here. But let's take a look. You could even potentially get some snow down in, what is it, Greenville? I always confuse my... 1 second. There's too many green places. Greensboro. There's Greensville, Greensboro, green this, green that. Yeah, Greensboro out towards Raleigh. Maybe small chance you get a little bit of snow down there if we were to see this happen. Quickly, let's push it to our HRRR. Is our HRRR seeing this far enough out yet? Let's see. Let's go to the east. Let's go to our HRRR, folks. We got to wait for our 12Z to fully load through. Once our 12Z is fully loaded through, we'll actually see the progression of this on the HRRR, which will be nice. Quickly, we'll take a look at the NAM 3K. The NAM 3K, I don't fully trust it with snow, but we're going to take a look at what it sees here. The NAM 3K does try to put some snow up there into portion through Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, a little bit in Jersey, southeastern PA as well. And then we'll take a look at 72 hours out. Ooh, is the National Weather Service taking a look at this yet? Hold up, guys. Hold up. My brain is beginning to wake up. Do we have this yet? Okay, we're starting to see this on the national. We're starting to see this. Here's our high-end possibilities from the National Weather Service right now. Trying to bring an inch to 3 inches, stretching from D.C. all the way up to Philadelphia, maybe even an inch into New York City. Not a ton, still the high end. Let's wait until this evening, because this evening our short-range models get in, and we're talking about our HRRR and our NAM 3K especially, get into range, and that is what the National Weather Service is waiting on, I think, to push up your expected amounts and not just be looking at snow just on the high end. Why is this like this? Hold up. Hold up, gang. Hold up, gang. Let's get this in the middle. I need to center this right here. Okay. I want to make sure this is, yeah, okay. That'll have to do. That'll have to do. All right. Anyways, that's what's going on with that. So, and I think I'm ready to take questions now. Let me just make sure I didn't miss a short range. I don't really fully trust. Oh, we'll just look at this last short range model because this is actually important. Winter National Blend. National Blend. This is good. It'll tell us, it'll blend our models together. Look at the National Blend likes, well, actually, let's not push out that far. Why don't we? The National Blend, there it is. The National Blend likes potentially an inch, 1 to 2 inches, an inch to an inch and a half through this region. We don't really have our short range models out far enough here, though. So wait till we get our short range models this evening. There's a chance you see these snow totals start to skyrocket depending on what our HRRR comes in seeing. If our NAM3K and HRRR suddenly see more moisture on the north end of the system, you're going to see these totals go up here. We have the cold air this time. That's what's important. Like I said, last storm that we just had out here, where you got rain all up and down the I-95 corridor and you missed the snow from DC to Boston, or DC really to New York City in this case, you had the moisture, you didn't have the cold air. We have the cold air this time. Do we not have the moisture? We'll see. Anyways, let's get into questions. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I'm going to pull up our latest. Look at that. Looks really nice on the Euro. Looks really nice on the Euro for you guys. Tons of moisture down in the south. By the way, another snow system moving in to the upper Midwest through Iowa, potentially down through Illinois and Chicago. More snow for you guys. Yeehaw, ride 'em, cowboy. Thanks, Yali. Atmospheric river still pummeling or getting ready to pummel the Pacific Northwest, by the way, guys. Yali, I appreciate you. Debbie, what's going on? Tufts, what is going on? Are we going to have a white Christmas this year in Indiana? It still looks cold pushing into, we still see above average precipitation in this region and below average temperatures, especially for this region right here. So below average temperatures, above average precipitation as we push through the average of December. So Indiana's in a pretty good spot for an above average chance for a white Christmas. I mean, it's not a bad spot to be if you want a higher chance for a white Christmas. Is this your full-time job, Mike? Not yet. I'm trying to make it my full-time job. That's why I've woken up at between 3 and 4 a.m. every single day for the last 35 days straight. And worked for 4 hours before going to my 9 to 5. Hopefully by sometime next year, this is my full-time job, because if it is, I do a lot more than stream just in the morning. I'd be doing afternoon, evening streams as well, and probably more videos. And honestly, if it was my full-time job too, I'd be doing a lot more. I don't have a ton of time to do as much research into certain topics or certain events that could occur as I want to. I have to do all of my kind of research in the morning, rushing before I have to get to work. So I'm excited for it to eventually be my full-time job, because I'm like a super, super weather nerd. Like I'm really into climatological stuff, like climatology, and I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into that in some of my videos. Erica, I appreciate you. Rhinestone, I appreciate you. Yo, what about Las Vegas? It's still 60 outside. Yeah, unfortunately, there's your 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So what do we got going on out here? High surf advisory. Santa Maria. Careful out there. All the surfers are like, ooh, we got to get out there. High surf advisory. 8 to 14 day Vegas. You're toasting. You're in a toaster oven, Vegas. 3 to 4 weeks. We'll see what happens out here. We'll see if we get a little bit of cool down. Models are starting to think around December 15th through December 17th. We get some troughing out east, a little bit of a break from the warmth. We get some cool air, maybe a little bit snow a little bit farther down in the south, before flipping that cold air back to the east before Christmas time. I can go over that too if you guys want. I went over to my video that I just posted today. I can't speak. So when should we see a solid answer for this weekend snowstorm? Tomorrow morning. I mean, our short ranges are good short range snow models like the HRRR. The 12Z is going to be just in range as the snowstorm moves in. But tomorrow morning, we're going to be within 48 hours. And I'm hoping that we have our NAM3K and HRRR somewhat synced up and the National Weather Service somewhat synced up. I'm pretty confident we'll be able to tell you if there's going to be snow or not tomorrow morning. Maybe even try to get some accurate accumulation totals. It's just tough. I mean, the GFS right now, look at this. The GFS thinks there's not going to be moisture on the north end of the system. Here's our O6Z. You see it now. Now this is interesting. This is interesting. Let me push into North Carolina right now. Here's the GFS, by the way, for my Carolina folks. It's keeping this. It is putting moisture on the north end. Farther south, though. And farther south. And then kind of as the system moves off, you're just too zonal here. Too much of a zonal flow. It's too flat. We're not getting any tilt. So you're not getting that kind of pull of moisture and that kind of vorticity to produce more moisture on the north end of this system. But our Euro disagrees with that. And our short ranges actually, for the most part, disagree with that as well. They actually do see snow falling on the north side of the system. Here's the National Weather Service also still sees, a dusting to 1 inch to 2 inches. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Sorry. A dusting to 1 inch to 2 inches up here through this region. So let me go back to the GFS since I'm being an idiot and not showing you guys what I'm looking at. Here we go. Yeah, I got to do that once or twice a stream. See the GFS puts some snow down in North Carolina. This is what I was showing you guys. Now I got to double check to make sure it's actually on the screen. I've got a lot of screens going on here, and I get confused sometimes. My little brain, my peanut brain, as my parents tell me. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, yeah, you can see, what is it? Greensboro, Raleigh, Charlotte, maybe get close. The GFS likes the snow farther south. I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of a wintry mix down there. I think it's going to be hard to get snow down there. And then, like I said, actually, we'll just go east. And then, as I said, the GFS flattens out a little bit. The GFS flattens out a little bit, and that snow kind of disappears. It doesn't go through the mid-Atlantic region. Now, like I said, pretty much every other model sees a little bit of snow falling through here from D.C. to New York City, some even up to Boston. Not a ton, but most other models see snow falling and see a little bit of snow accumulation as well. So that's good news. By the way, right after this, we get into late into the weekend, early into next week, look at the GFS again. Trying to put snow down, northern South Carolina, throughout the entire state of North Carolina, southern Virginia as well. So nice little chance there maybe for some. I could see it happening. I mean, you're going to be really cold down there. Again, it's just temperatures are going to be temperatures for southern snow are going to be available here for the next 10 days. We need some moisture in those regions, so it's a possibility. More clippers moving in from the north, headed out east. We'll see what happens here. Now, this is when we get a big dip. I want to show you what happens out here. This big dip in the jet stream, the Euro sees actually happening. Let me go to the Euro real quick. The Euro actually sees this big dip coming in. Nope, we're on the O6C. Go back. This right here is a fantastic opportunity for southern snow and coastal snow. This is when the Euro sees potentially temperatures getting into the 20s all the way down to the coast. So tons of cold air. Tons of below freezing air in this region that I just circled here. Tons of below freezing air, potentially up in the mid layers as well. So anyways, Michigan, Ohio. What's your question about Michigan, Ohio? You guys can't just shout out states. Here's expected snow totals over the next. Let's look at the next 7 days. Let's look at the next 5 days. Let's not get crazy. Let's go to the 8th. Here's our expected snow totals from the Euro. Over the next, I'll go up into the Ohio Valley. Actually, we'll push out here. Here's our expected snow totals over the next just 5 days, so we're not getting crazy. So a little bit of snow up there for Minneapolis, northern Wisconsin, a little bit in northern Iowa, maybe a little bit more snow. There's going to be some clippers moving through this region, so you could get 1 inch, 2, 3 inches of accumulation depending on how these bands set up through portions of the Midwest here. Again, the Euro does like the chance of snow through the mid-Atlantic, anywhere between a dusting to 3 inches potentially, and then up and down the coast here as well. More lake effect snow for Michigan, more lake effect snow for upstate New York, Great Lakes region, and then look at this, some good snow over the next 5 days potentially out here for the mountains as well, for the Rockies. North Dakota looks good. Montana looks good. East Coast snow, yeah, if you're going to get a big nor'easter, it's probably going to be around the 12th if we continue to see that verify. 12th or 13th, that setup. This one isn't going to be a big nor'easter, this one on Friday if we get snow, but you could see some accumulation. not just flakes. Summer Christmas sounds horrible. Yeah, I don't think that's what's going to happen out east, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Why doesn't Boston get as much snow anymore? You guys are in a snow drought. Your 100-year average, don't worry about it. Snow droughts happen. There's more moisture. As the earth warms, we're in an interglacial period, so we're moving out of a major ice age. The earth warms, glaciers melt, oceans rise. You go into another ice age. We've had, 5 major ice ages, 11 interglacial periods. We're warming. As you warm, more moisture goes into the atmosphere. So actually, I would expect snow totals over the next 100 years to actually slightly increase. If you look at snow, I actually posted this on my X the other day, and I'm going to show you guys this. Snow in the northern hemisphere over winter has actually increased over the last 30 years. I know you guys are sitting out here in Boston and Philly and like, shut up, you're lying. It has. You're in a drought. You're going to see big snow years again. Don't worry. And if you're worried about warming taking away your snow, that's not how it works. Warming puts, not if you're above a certain latitude, not if you're in the mid latitude, maybe the lower latitudes. But let me show you something real quick. Where did I post this? That's why I like that I started getting on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, because I have some, here we go. Okay. Northern Hemisphere snow extent. This is stretching from 1967. This is according to Rutgers Global Snow Lab. Rutgers has a really good climatological program, and they do a lot of stuff like this. But notice, actually, it's not much, but we've seen an increase in snowfall in the Northern Hemisphere since 1967. Bet none of you guys thought that, right? We have seen an increase of snowfall. We'll continue to see an increase in snowfall in the Northern Hemisphere. A lot of this snowfall is more mid to upper latitude, but places like Boston, Philly, you guys are high enough up where you're going to see some crazy snow years just because of the moisture in the air, and it'll reset your 100-year average. Trust me, we're in a little bit of a snow drought. You have to look back. Like there were times like in the 80s where we just had immense amounts of snow out here, stretching from the northern plains out east. That, especially for the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region, but we had immense amounts of snow that pushed up our 100-year average. The 80s were really good. The 90s were pretty good. 50s were pretty good. And so a lot of us look at like what our average snowfall is, and we'll look at the 100-year average, and it's really, really elevated because of some of these crazy snow decades we've had. We're in a lesser snow decade right now, but the climate fixes itself. You guys think 4 or 5 years is a long time on planet Earth? That's like blinking. So you don't get a lot of snow for 4 or 5 years. You're below your average. That's not a long time. It's going to correct itself. Believe me. We're seeing more snowfall in the northern hemisphere we're seeing a snowfall increase in the northern hemisphere over the last 30 years. So don't let anyone else tell you different. Lauren, what's going on? I appreciate you. Hey, maybe this is the year. Maybe this year Boston gets 80 inches. Who knows? But it's going to happen again because that's what happens. We have decades with a lot of snow. We have decades where we have droughts. Caroline, what's going on? Heard Illinois is going to be way warmer than normal back half of December. I'm thinking more like as we get into the second week of January. I don't think it's going to be back half of December. We're getting a brief mid-December warm-up, I think. Let's take a look at our European weekly here. Now, let's go to our 30-day temperature anomaly. Here's our 30-day temperature anomaly all the way through January 3rd. This is what the Euro thinks. Pretty freaking cold out east. Going into... Now, this is where it gets interesting. 7-day, 500 millibar height anomaly. Watch what happens as we get into around the 16th, 17th, 18th. Boom. A little bit of a shift. But what's interesting is, although we have this kind of zonal blocking down here, if you actually look at our 540 line, where's it dipping? It's still dipping east. So I think we get a nice warm-up in this region, but I think we're really, really compressed cold up here. Still, Illinois could be close, but again, you start to see, and then you get into January, and it looks like, again, still weird though. Still an interesting pattern because you still have your troughing trying to push in out east, even though you can see you've got your blues out here to the west. So January looks a little bit warmer for the east. I've been saying that forever. I think cold air is sinking back into the west as we get into January. I don't think that's going to happen. I think through Christmas, we're doing pretty good out east. Besides, I think a period of maybe 4 to 7 days where we warm up out here mid-December. Let's look at our teleconnections. Our teleconnections are actually doing wacky things this morning, but we'll take a look at them anyways. Why not? Let's look at them. So, weeklies, Arctic Oscillation. Well, let's go to our NAO. See this? This is a sign of a warm-up out east. So, that's interesting. Now, they have this between the 24th and the 1st. I don't quite know about that. I actually think that's going to be a little bit earlier. Just based on... This is just the European. Based on all the other globals combined. Let's see what our... do we have a GFS extended? The GFS actually pushes this a tiny bit back, bringing this closer to the 20th with our NAO, but still does have it going pretty far to the north. Let's look at our WPO. WPO still saying negative. That's pretty good for cold air down in the south. Negative PNA. Again, that's good for cold air out west, but I don't really see this happening as early as the 12th. I'm looking at these. I'm looking at the GFS extended for the first time today, so give me a second. This EPO, even if we have a negative NAO, this very negative EPO, again, could also keep some cold air out east, even though we might not have as active of a winter pattern. Arctic Oscillation, interesting that the European and GFS both are now seeing this kind of positive AO as we get towards the end of December. I mean, I could see that happening. The only thing that I would argue with that on is... Look what's happening up in our stratosphere right now. Look what's happening up in our stratosphere. Let's see if our Euro is still seeing this. Okay. Stratospheric polar vortex is starting to heal. That's how you want it to look. That's strong. But we're getting all this lagged cold air down to the south. Look what's happening here. Okay. Are we going to have another SSWE, sudden stratospheric warming event, as we get into mid-December? Because this right here would lag cold air, very cold air down into the States for January. Which would throw off my prediction. For a big warm-up out east, I think. If we did see another sudden stratospheric warming event mid-December, then I think we could get extended cold out east through January. So, I don't know. We have to see what's happening with this. That's on the Euro, or that's on the GFS. No, that's on the Euro. This is on the GFS. The GFS... There you go. Stratosphere is healed. But there you go. You try to get a warming again up in the stratosphere. The GFS kicks it out. So we'll see. That would completely change my outlook for January if we had a mid-December SSWE. So I'm watching it closely. Very closely. Larry, Marla, Eric, what's going on? You want a blizzard? Snow totals are ticking up in Indiana a little bit. How much will this impact Florida? Well, for anyone who just joined, we do have some good... look at these record lows that we have. Moving into tomorrow. Record lows up there through portions of the Midwest, upper Midwest. These are all record lows. Friday. Now moving out, extending out, we get some actually record highs or record high low temperatures down in Florida as we get into this weekend. More record lows out here. Now, what we were talking about earlier, we go into our Euro temperature anomalies. This would be a huge cool down for Florida if we continue to see this verify in the models. We're talking 30 to 40 degrees below average for Florida potentially. The Euro thinks we could get down to freezing in Tampa and down to 27, 28 degrees down there in Jacksonville, Florida, potentially out towards the 12th or 13th. We'll see if this verifies, but this would be... Florida looks pretty warm. Maybe you get a little bit of a cool down early next week, but for the most part, it looks pretty warm. Again, early next week, there you go. Maybe into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But this right here, I'm looking at the end of next week for Florida, and this would be freezing. You definitely set a bunch of record lows there. Tell me about Georgia. What do you want to know about Georgia? It's right here. Right here. Not much snow expectation for Georgia. Georgia looks, at least northern Georgia, looks to remain pretty cool. pretty cool over the next couple of weeks. Southern Georgia, you might get caught under a ridge for a while with Florida. Utah's staying pretty warm. You got some nice cool temperatures here over the next couple of days. But then we get into this weekend, ridge setting up. You're very warm out there for quite a while in Utah, really all the way through the end of the run. But there are some snow chances. I mean, like I said, I think we went over this earlier, but if we just look at, let's just look at 5 days snowfall totals. You could get some nice snow out there in Utah and Colorado, especially up in the mountains. Maybe a little bit of low elevation, but I don't know. It's going to be hard with those above average temperatures in Utah. How much snow will DC get? Depends what model you look at. If you look at the Euro, or you look at the GFS, DC is going to get no snow. You look at the Euro, DC could get an inch or two. I'm waiting to see what happens with the short-range models. I expect to see a little bit of accumulation. I expect to see flurries at least flying in DC. I'm still not sure about accumulation. I'm leaning like 60-40 towards an inch or two accumulation up and down the Mid-Atlantic region. Will this winter pattern support cold coming directly toward Texas? Well, here, let's go back to our temperature anomalies. Pretty cold here as we move through the next few days down there in Texas. Look at that. Very, very cold as we move into this weekend. Then you suddenly get a warm-up in Texas, although northern, eastern Texas looks to remain pretty cold. That's kind of a brief warm-up as we get into Saturday. Still pretty cold in Texas. And then here you go. This is when warm air looks like it wants to settle in next Tuesday, Wednesday into Texas. You guys are going to be right on the board. This is going to be a big battle of warming. Look at the battle of warm and cold air with Texas moving forward, because you have a ridge here, you have troughing here, so you kind of have this push and pull. You're going to see some big temperature swings next week in Texas if the Euro's correct. Well below average, well above average, well below average, well above average. Like, I don't know what to tell you about Texas. You guys are in that battleground zone with temperatures right now, especially you guys in central to eastern Texas. That could promote some severe weather, by the way. Yeah, look at next week. That's next week in Texas. Look. Monday, half the states below, half the states above. You get into Tuesday, below, above, below, above, below, above. It's really a battle of temperatures. Looks like Wisconsin is going to have temperature swings. You guys are mostly cold. I mean, you guys are mostly cold here. Maybe as we get into the middle of next week, you get that warm up, but it's cold again. Wisconsin's looking pretty cold. I wouldn't expect too many major temperature swings. Snow for Christmas in Townsend, Tennessee. I don't know where Townsend, Tennessee is. I wish you had told me what region of the state it's in. But yeah, I'd say there's a possibility. I should, you know what, actually? What's Christmas 22 days away? I still haven't got my, okay. This week, I promise you guys two things. Before Sunday, I'm posting my January outlook, and I'm posting my Christmas forecast. My Thanksgiving forecast was pretty dang close, and I posted that 3 to 4 weeks before Thanksgiving. 2 to 3 weeks, 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. I said I thought it would be very cold out here, and I said I thought we'd have a big snowstorm right around Thanksgiving, which we did, for the plains and through the Midwest. That came out pretty accurate. I can't promise you my Christmas forecast is going to be as accurate. I think the Christmas one may be even harder because I'm going back and forth on this mid-December warm-up. But before Sunday, I'm going to post my January outlook and my Christmas outlook and my Christmas forecast. Christmas forecast, I'm going to include who I think is going to have a white Christmas. I'm just going to straight up tell you who I think is going to have a white Christmas and who's not. So I need to do a little bit more research into some of the climatological stuff that's going on with our, teleconnections, oscillations, ENSO, and everything like that. I want to try to give you an accurate short-range outlook, long-range forecast, not just throw something together sloppy. Hugely, gigantically confused, blonde. What's going on? Negative degree in Illinois. Check this out. Here's minimum temperature records that are about to be set. Let's go to Illinois. Illinois. Yep, negatives. Look at that. -1, -5, -1. We're in the negatives, and this is not wind chill. That's potentially Friday. Getting into the negatives. North, Western Illinois, -3, -5, -3. This is not wind chills. Wind chills could be 10 to 15 degrees colder than that. So Chicago, we could be talking about -5, -10 degree wind chills on Friday. But then luckily, as we get into next Monday, you warm up to 16 degrees. Nice warm up for you guys. Maybe we could go sit out at the water. Nice, beautiful 16 degrees. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Oh, interesting. One second, guys. Notice a constant stream of cold air out east. That's wild. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you guys this. I forgot. Check out our precipitation. This is actually pretty wild. Look at our precipitation forecast for the next 6 to 10 days, guys. Someone just asked about Texas. There you go. Oh, watch this. 8 to 14. There you go. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of, guys? This reminds me of this. Okay, enough fooling around. Let's get back to questions. But yeah, pretty dry out there. Pretty dry out there for you guys. Pretty dry. And for anyone who missed this, as they say, buckle up, Buttercup. Burr. Bleh. Hi, Fisher. One second, guys.
You're not sleeping anymore?
I'm not what? I'm not sleeping anymore. I am fully awake.
We just woke up twice today.
You woke up twice today?
Yeah.
Do you want to come say hi to stream real quick? I'm about to get off. Come say hi to stream. Say hi, stream.
Yay.
Say hello, stream.
Interesting.
Okay. All right, I'll be out there in a second. Wait, Jose is my friend. He's weird for real. Just kidding. He's chill. White Christmas in Chicago? Maybe. I'm going to figure that out. Hi, buddy. Hi, Fisher. Yeah, he missed you guys. He hasn't been on stream in a little bit. What do I think about South Central Virginia? What do I think South Central Virginia will get Friday? Oof. Man. I really want to see what our short range... Oh, is our HRRR 12K extended now? I think it is. Wait. Ooh. All right. This is where our HRRR is at right now. The end of the run. This is where it has snow. Again, this is moving east. Does this thing start to jut to the north is the question. Does this thing... You can see this little notch here. Does this start to jut to the north? Let me take a look at vorticity here. One second. See, here's our problem. We need a notch here. We need this low pressure to develop and begin to tilt for that mid-Atlantic snow. What's our NAM 3K showing? Let's look at our NAM 3K, guys. Oh, it's not loaded yet. Not quite loaded yet. Okay. Rufus, I don't really care for the Rufus, but I'll take a quick look at it. Yeah, the Rufus has done nothing for me all year. Let's go back to 12Z. Okay, so we have the snow moving out towards the mid-Atlantic region, out through Virginia, northern North Carolina, right here on the HRRR. This is as far as the model goes. So we need it to go a little bit further. Obviously, the European has that same type of situation there, but then you can see it begins to tilt like this. Does our HRRR this evening, and as we get into tomorrow morning, begin to tilt and deepen the low pressure slightly? Do we get a little bit of tilt and deepening of the low pressure like this? Kind of a push-up of this ridge here, which helps to tilt that snow up into the mid-Atlantic and up the coast, and also deepen the low pressure, increasing snow amounts. That's the big question. Our HRRR doesn't go out that far yet. But yeah, Virginia right now is looking pretty decent. I mean, especially when you look at that first run of the HRRR that sees out here. It's looking pretty decent. I mean, maybe a little bit of accumulation. The problem would be south central Virginia. You'd probably get rain and mix right after it. That might kind of mess with that accumulated snow. We'll see. What do you think about the snow chances for North Carolina on Friday morning, Piedmont? Well, central to southern North Carolina, you're probably not going to see anything. Maybe Greensboro out to Raleigh. You got about a 50-50 shot at getting a wintry mix to a light dusting to an inch. But again, you're going to have the same issue with some rain moving into the back end that's going to try to wash it out. Asheville, it's possible. You'll probably get a wintry mix with this. If we take a look at your temperatures around this time, surface temperatures, you can see a lot of us down here are kind of decently above freezing. So, yeah, Boone could see some snow for this, maybe. Boone could see some snow from this. You're gonna be. Let's look at the. Let's look at this again. Boone could see some heavy snow potentially just because of the elevation. Philly could. Again, we have to wait and see. This is as far as the HRRR goes out. The European, after this point, tilts it up. You get a little bit of a deepening of the low. Tilts the trough. Guys, I got to head to work. I posted a video talking about all this today. If you want to watch it on my YouTube. If you want to join the Climate Crew, link to my Discord is right in the description of all my videos. Here's my Discord. Here's what goes on in it. Look, snowfall updates every single day. Winter storm updates specifically to each region. Temperature updates. Everything you need to know about temperatures. Every single morning I post this. Rainfall updates. Everything you need to know about rainfall. I post it every morning. Severe updates. Tornado updates. Hail updates. High wind updates. Hurricane updates. Wildfire. Where's their fires? Earthquakes. Where was there earthquakes today? Drought monitor. Volcanoes. Enzo. Storm reports. Everything. And as soon as there's a tornado emergency, tornado warning, flood warning, PDS, it's immediately posted here the second we hear about it. Where's our meme channel, guys? We got any funny memes in here? Oh yeah, true. I fully agree with this. Yep, fully agree with that. All right, guys. I appreciate you being in here. I'm going to be back on tomorrow, posting, live streaming. Mods, you're awesome. Thanks for being in here. Let him cook. ISL, I appreciate you. And he's supposed to get 2 more inches tonight? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, I appreciate you all being in here. Enjoy your Wednesday. Enjoy hump day. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. See you, Extremely Confused Blonde.